Welcome GibbsCAM users. Today we're going to continue on with our 5-axis series. Today we're going to show you a couple different surfaces here. The first one is going to be surface quality cut tolerance and what that does to the surface here. So you can see I have 3 tools here. They're all identical, 3/8 with a 60 thou radius on the quarter. These are all exactly the same tools, and I just separate them into 3 different processes. So I'm going to bring up the first process here, first operation and process. And we're just going to do you can see the surface that we want to cut. So everything here is the same on all 3. We're not going to go over any of that. If I click on the surface paths tab, you can see I'm doing surfaces, parallel cuts, 90 degrees here, 90 degree in Z, and I just leaving a little bit of surface material there so you can see the different cuts and how they affect it. Zigzag, so everything here is almost the same except for this one. I have a surface quality as 50 thou and the step over at 200 thou. 200 thou step overs on all of them just so you can see the steps there. And if we go to tool axis control, you can see we have 5-axis, but this roughing one, I have maximum angle step of 10 degrees. So that's a pretty big maximum angle step there. Everything else is here the same. I have gouge check on and link. I just have use lead in, just the default links here. Nothing on roughing, nothing on utility. So when we run this first one here, let's bring up the rendering here, and we'll go to POV lock and say look at that as if it was a machine in the machine. And if we play this, let's slow it down a bit. Let's play it again. So we'll speed that up just a little bit. And you can see the kind of what the cut tolerance does there on this. You can see it's a little bit pretty rough on there. If I get a better view where it shines a little bit better. But you can see the angles of the steps there are quite coarse there. So the next toolpath we're doing, before I finish off this one, you can see the lead in and the lead out. Don't necessarily like that. Go in this direction. I probably want to do a vertical. So I'm going to open up that process again. I'm going to change a couple things on here. On the link, I have use lead in, use lead out, which is fine. But I'm going to click on the 3 dots. And instead of using the default lead in, lead out, I'm going to uncheck that. And I'm going to say I want to do a vertical tangent arc. And I'll click OK. And on the lead out, same thing there. I'll uncheck that and say I want to do a vertical tangent arc. When it goes out, we'll redo that. And you'll see now the toolpath comes down as a vertical arc, and the same thing when it leaves. So if we render that, you're basically going to see about the same thing there. There's our arc in. There's our arc off. Well, on the finish pass, it'll do the arc off on there. So that makes a difference there. So I kind of like that toolpath a little better. So if we go to operation number 2, now this one we're have about the same things, but we're going to clean this up a little bit. So on the surface paths here, I have still 50 thou cut tolerance. Step over is the same, but on the tool axis control, I brought that down to angle step of 3 degrees instead. So when we run that one, let's just jump to 2 there. So operation number 2, play that. We'll speed that up just a little bit. You can see our surface quality is getting a little bit better there. Okay, not perfect, but it's getting better. But it'll rough out the part pretty good. So if you want to rough something out and leave stock for a finish pass and want to get through that pretty fast, without holding really tight tolerances, then that'll run your toolpath a lot better. So if we go to the last one here, surface paths again, and this time I brought the surface quality down to a 1/2 thou. Step over the same, tool axis control. This time I have 3 degrees again, which will leave a pretty nice finish. You could even reduce that even more if you want a nicer finish, but of course your toolpath is going to be a lot longer, take longer to cut on there. I always have the gauge check on as much as possible. On the link here, well, let's play this before we mess with the links there. So let's go to 3 there and play that. And again, we'll speed that up a little bit. And you can see, of course, this is the video is going to be a little bit coarser than actually what it is on the machine. But you can see that cleaned it up a lot better. Now you can always change the resolution on your PC to make it look even better by just right-clicking and going down to settings. Right now we have it on custom there. You could try going to accurate and click apply. And if we went to number 3 again and played, let's see how that looks out. Looks a little bit better. And if you want to see even a nicer finish, of course you could go to custom and put in whatever you'd like there, really tight tolerance there, but remember it's going to use more graphics, more of your graphics card to render. So just be aware of that. Now on the last one here, let's change this lead in, lead out. Let's go to the link here and we'll use lead in, lead out. And we'll change this to a vertical tangent. Click OK, click redo. Actually, I could do the other way first. And let's go to this one and do a vertical tangent arc again. And we'll redo that. Now we have kind of a vertical arc in, arc off on there, so a little bit better on there. Now if we go to the actual machine sim, so let's bring up the machine sim. Now if we render this, this is number 1. Of course we're staying to the front side here. Now if for some reason, well, let's run number 2 first. This is the second one. And the third one. So now if your machine was rotating in the opposite direction, here we have it running correctly, but let's show you how to change that. Let's go to the document control and go to work area limits. Now if I click on actually uncheck those, and I could update the ops on there. Let's check all 3 of those. And we're updating all the ops on there. And also when you right click on an operation, let's do that again, you can select your work area limit that you've set over here in your document control, and you can give it a name, any name you want. Or if I clicked on unlimited, and same thing with the next one, unlimited, and let's check the last one here, that's unlimited as well. And if we run the machine control, you can see let's slow it down a little bit. You can see it's going to the back side, which I don't like to do. It's really hard to see if you're the operator in front to see what's happening with your other components to make sure you're not hitting anything. So this is how you can limit it, your travels, to make sure it's always staying in the front side. Number 2. depends on the toolpath as well, but if you see it going the wrong direction, so if we go to 3, you can see that's going to the back side as well. So like I say, in order to fix that, we go to our document control, work areas, and I'm going to check this, and I'm just going to put in a minus 110 degrees. And we'll update the ops there. And we'll go to the first one, which is the one we had a problem with. So I'll use my work area limit. And I believe it was number 3 as well. And we'll say use work area limits. We could also do that to the second one if we want. We'll just leave that there. And let's render this and see how it looks now. So now we have it going the correct direction, staying in the front. So one reason why it's swiveling is we told it that the A-axis cannot do any negative moves to go to the back side, so it has to swivel, so it always pivots to the front side. And if we do number 3, same thing there. We speed that up. If we just run 3, then you can see it's a little bit better finish there. And there's our nicer finish there. Okay, that finishes the one on surface quality. The next one we're going to do is extend lines, extend the edges on either 2 sides or all 4 sides, whatever you'd like to do. So that's the next one coming up. So this next one here, we're cutting this surface with a ball end mill. We have 2 ball end mills here. They're exactly the same. But we want to cut this surface with a ball end mill. We're going to do first in 5-axis, and then we're going to do it in 3-axis. So if I bring up my first operation and process, of course I'm going to go to surface paths. I'm going to choose parallel cuts, surfaces. It's the same for all 4 of these operations. 90 degrees. I'm just forcing it into the material by about 10 thou just so you can see the toolpath cuts. But here we don't have any extended lines on or anything like that. And if we run that tool, we go to the rendering on here and click on stop before every tool. We'll run this down through it. So you can see it's just going to the edge of the part, and it's basing that on the tangent of the tool, the ball end mill, where it reaches the edge. Now sometimes you want to go past that because of either little irregularities in the part, or the part may be a little bit longer than you expected, or you just want to go past it to make sure it cleans up the edges. So if we bring up operation number 2, and we go to our surface paths again. Same thing here. We're forcing it into the material so you can see it. But this time I have extend and trim checked. So on here, if you click on this extend trim button, it's going to bring up this menu here. So you can do the tangential extensions either by percentage of tool, or you can give it a value. So you can mix or match either one you'd like to do. Okay. I'm just going to do a value here. I'm going to put in, we'll just say 200 thou on there. You can also extend the side extensions. So if you wanted to bring it past the sides there, you could do that as well. We'll just do the end there. We'll click OK and click on redo. And now you can see it's extended past there. So if we run operation number 2, let's jump to 2 and run that. You're going to see how it goes past there. So if we slow it down, well, let's slow it down when it gets to the end there. And we'll slow it down. You're going to see it go past there. And there we have our extended lines. Of course, we do the POV locked. Go to machine. You're going to see what it looks like as the machine moves. Okay, you can see the extended lines there. Now if you want to do the arc in, arc off, you can do that as well, but you can see the tool has gone past the part there in 5-axis. Now if we go to the next operation, number 4, this time we're doing same thing, surface paths, no extend lines. If we do tool axis control, you can see we are on 3-axis. So just as I mentioned before, even though you're in the 5-axis module, you can still choose 3-axis, 4-axis, or 5-axis moves. And you can see here, the reason this looks like it's short is because we're on a vertical mill, so the tangent point of the tool is going to be right here where it finishes the tool, so it doesn't need to bring the tip of the tool clear out to there because it's already cut that. And the same thing over here, you can see it's extended here, but this is the tip of the tool, so there's the tangent point when the ball end mill reaches that. So if we run that one, we'll go to operation number 4. And let's play that. Tilt this up a little bit so it looks like it's actually a 3-axis mill. And if you slow it down, you'll see that tool reaches the tip of the ball end mill. Kind of square that up a little bit. You're going to see you go just past that tool just a little bit there where the edge of the tool reaches there, and the same thing with the other end. So the last one, like I said before, sometimes you want to extend the toolpath a little bit to clean up any edges that might be a little bit past it. So let's open up number 5. So again, we're doing tool axis control, 3-axis, and surface paths. We're going down to extend trim. And again, I have a value here. I have a value of 375, so we'll just leave it there. That's fine. And you can see now it's extended way past the part by quite a bit. So if we run operation number 5, let's just skip all the rest. Let's just actually deactivate the other 3. We'll just deactivate them. Gibbs will ignore those completely as if they never existed. And if we just run the rendering now, you're going to see it extend past the part, approximately 3/8 of an inch. You can see it's going pretty much the width of the cutter past, as you'll see it right here. And again on the other end. And again, if we put this in the machine sim, machine with an A-axis table there, and of course this is in a 3-axis mode, so no need to tilt the table. And if we reactivate these, let's deactivate this one. Actually, let's deactivate both of these. And we'll just do the, actually let's deactivate this one as well. So we just have number 2, and let's go to machine sim again and play again. And this time we're letting it tilt a little bit farther on the back side, not too far back. You can still see it So that way it doesn't have to swivel around. If you limited that, then it might have to swivel the C-axis to go 180 and stay on the front side. So you can choose how you want that to react on your A-axis or B-axis machine. So that's it for these two updates on the 5-axis series, and thank you for watching.